Resident Evil's story is built on key events and the survivors who shaped them. But what if one of the franchise's most iconic figures, Leon S. Kennedy, never made it out of Raccoon City? In this alternate timeline, we explore a chilling reality where both Leon and Ada Wong perish during their escape from the underground lab. How does this affect the world of Resident Evil? How do later games change? And more importantly, what happened to the global fight against bioterrorism? At the end of Resident Evil 2, Leon, Claire, and Sherry make a desperate escape through Umbrella's underground facility, with the self destruct system counting down. But in this timeline, something goes horribly wrong. Leon and Ada, both critically injured, never reach the escape train. Maybe they get overwhelmed by zombies, or get caught in an explosion, or the tyrant finally finishes them off. Either way, they don't make it. Claire and Sherry are then left on their own. But their survival is also far from guaranteed. Without Leon's support, Claire has to carry an unconscious Sherry through the final stretch alone. Given how tense the situation was, with the self-destruct sequence, swarms of enemies, and the train barely making it out in time, there's a real chance Claire and Sherry don't make it either. This means that all three of them, Leon, Ada, and Claire, are wiped from the story. And with them, the future of Resident Evil is thrown into a complete chaos. Without Leon, Claire, and Ada making it out of Raccoon City, the effect ripples out almost immediately. Jill Valentine, already exhausted from the Nemesis pursuit, has no backup coming to expose Umbrella's crimes. Claire never goes on to search for Chris, meaning the event of Code Veronica could play out differently, or not at all. And without Claire escaping, Chris Redfield may never get the closure he needs. Chris was already struggling with PTSD after the mansion incident, and Claire was one of the few things keeping him going. Learning about her death could be the final nail in the coffin. Instead of becoming the battle-hardened soldier that leads the BSAA, Chris might spiral into depression and isolation, possibly never returning to fight. Without Chris at full strength, Resident Evil 5, 6, and beyond start to fall apart. Ada's death also changes the landscape of bioterrorism. In the original timeline, Ada survives Raccoon City and eventually starts working for Albert Wesker in Resident Evil 4. But in this timeline, she never makes it out. This means that Wesker loses one of his most valuable assets and never gets the chance to manipulate Ada into working for him. Without her involvement, his plans for obtaining the Plaga parasite and expanding his influence in Resident Evil 4 never happens. Moving on, now it's time to discuss the events of Resident Evil 4. Leon's absence completely erases the events of Resident Evil 4. Without him, there is no US government mission to rescue Ashley, and this has catastrophic consequences. Ashley remains in the hand of the Los Illuminados cult, and Sadler successfully infects her with the last plagas. With Ashley under his control, he gains direct influence over the White House. This is where things take a terrifying turn. Instead of being stopped in Spain, the plaga parasite could spread to the highest levels of the US government. Sadler could manipulate powerful officials, planting more plaga control agents in key positions, potentially turning the entire US government into his puppets. With no one stopping him, he could use America's military resources to spread the parasite worldwide, leading to a global-scale outbreak. This horror wouldn't be limited to a single village in Spain. It could infect the entire world. Let's now discuss Resident Evil 5. By the time we reach Resident Evil 5, the effects of Leon's absence are undeniable. The BSAA, the Global Anti-Bioterrorism Task Force, would be significantly weakened without key information from past events. If Claire never survives Raccoon City, Chris Redfield may never return to fight. If Chris isn't there, then Sheva Alomar has no backup in Africa. And if Chris isn't there to stop him, Albert Wesker plans for Ouroboros go completely unchecked. Instead of being stopped, Wesker could unleash the Ouroboros virus on a global scale, fulfilling his twisted vision of evolution by wiping out most of humanity. RE5 wouldn't end with a final battle in a volcano. It would end with Wesker succeeding in exterminating billions. If Leon, Claire, and Chris are completely absent from history, then by the time of Resident Evil 6, the world is in complete chaos. The BSAA is without its strong operatives, the US government, already weakened by Sadler influence in Resident Evil 4, might be overrun with bioweapons. Jake Muller, Wesker's son, never meets Leon, and never has a reason to fight against bioterrorism. Without him, the cure of C virus might never be developed. Instead of a war against bioterrorism, humanity could face complete extinction. So, Leon Kennedy wasn't just another survivor, he was a turning point in history. His actions shaped the entire franchise in ways few people realize. If he had died in Raccoon City, the entire Resident Evil timeline would be unrecognizable. The fight against bioterrorism would be severely weakened, the US government could be compromised by the Plaga parasite, Albert Wesker plans might actually succeed, and Umbrella could remain active longer, leading to even worse outbreaks. So that's all for today's video, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, peace out.